Good morning, and welcome to a candidate forum featuring candidates for District 2 and District 4 for Elk Grove City Council. I'm Tricia Erhammer, a past president of the League of Women Voters of Sacramento and the moderator of today's forum. This forum is co-sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Sacramento and the Sacramento Metropolitan Cable Television Commission. The forum is being viewed live by an audience here in the Sacramento Board of Supervisors chambers and by a live cable television audience at home. It is also being taped for rebroadcasts on Metro Cable Channel 14. The League of Women Voters of Sacramento and all leagues are nonpartisan, nonprofit organizations of men and women established to promote political responsibility through informed, active participation in government. The League does not support, oppose, or evaluate political candidates or parties. Although our nonpartisanship policy does not permit endorsement of political candidates, we do, after careful studies, take positions on political issues. The format of today's forum will be as follows. Each candidate will have a 1-minute opening, followed by a question and answer period in which candidates receiving that question will receive an opportunity for a 1-minute answer, and finally, each candidate will receive a 1-minute closing. In the interest of time and decorum, I ask our audience to hold their applause until the end of the forum. Now it's my pleasure to introduce the candidates who are running for District 2 of Elk Grove City Council. To my left, Rick Soares, Elise Walton, Patrick Hume. To my far left, Patrick Hume, and the third to my left, Davies Ananiwu. To my right, District 4 Elk Grove candidates, Gary Davis.
Good morning.
Daniel Silva.
Good morning.
And Dan Briggs.
Good morning.
I'd also like to introduce our media panelists this morning. We have Jeff Forward from the Elk Grove Citizen, Loretta Kalb from the Sacramento Bee, who's been covering Elk Grove politics for a few years, and John Sire, political science professor of Sac State, emeritus. Thank you for joining us and welcome to today's forum.
Thank you. Thank you.
It is now time to begin our opening statements. Candidates have drawn straws for this process. The first opening statement, Rick Soares.
Thank you very much. Good morning. I'm a local teacher. I live out in the rural area of Elk Grove, and I have a long history of service to the city of Elk Grove, either through volunteer work with neighborhood accountability boards, the past chair a number of times through the Elk Grove Planning Advisory Council, and 6 years on the city council, 2-year terms as mayor, which is my current title. As a family man with a beautiful wife and 3 great daughters, I realize and appreciate the issue of public safety within the city of Elk Grove, and I'm very proud of my role I've played to bring forward a new Elk Grove City Police Department. I treat people with respect. I'm well known for my work ethic and putting in tremendous hours on behalf of the citizens. And during this election, I will once again state I will put my all into this election. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Elise Walton.
Good morning. I am an 18-year resident of Elk Grove. I have 28 years administrative management. I'm also a 12-year veteran of the United States Air Force, where I have a number of experience in leadership and management. I have 15 years in education. Have 15 years in education with the Elk Grove Unified School District, where I've held several positions within the Elk Grove Unified School District, as, for example, opening up Harriet Eddy Middle School and Laguna Creek High School. I think the requirement for Elk Grove City Council is strong leadership and commitment to service to our citizens of Elk Grove, and I have those attributes. Thank you.
Thank you, Elise. Now, Davies Ananiwu.
Good morning. I am a father. I'm a local business owner in Elk Grove here. I have 3 kids with a beautiful wife. I'm also involved with the Elk Grove Laguna Accountability Board. I serve on that board. I work with the Rotary Club. I serve on the board also. I'm a business owner in the city of Elk Grove. I feel very strongly that I have had a lot of experience in leadership over the years. I've served many organizations that I have worked for as a board of director, but I feel very strong that Elk Grove deserved a better chance. They need a new leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick.
Hi.
Davies. Patrick Hume, please.
Hi, my name is Patrick Hume. I would like to be your representative for District 2. Elk Grove is my hometown. I grew up here. I was in the first grade class at Markoffer Elementary. My family's lived here since 1946. We've seen Elk Grove grow and change, and we love this town. The community spirit I remember from my childhood, I still see in the eyes of the people I meet on the street today. And that's why we need to work together to build a better future for Elk Grove. We need to end the fighting between the city and the CSD, and we need to be more proactive in our fight against crime. We need to work together to do a better job of managing our growth, and we need to work to bring quality jobs to Elk Grove and get our commuters off of clogged freeways. Most importantly, we need to listen to you. We need to hear your voice, and I hope I'll hear your voice when you vote for me, Patrick Hume, on November 7th.
Thank you, Patrick. We now will hear the opening statements from District 4 candidates. First, Gary Davis.
Good morning. Elk Grove is an amazing community with tremendous potential to really, truly be one of the great American cities of the 21st century. And as a city, what I value most is our ability to dream. Elk Grove came together 6 years ago. We decided that local control would lead to better decision making, and we decided to incorporate. Let's fast forward now. We've been a city for 6 years, and the city of Elk Grove is still struggling with the same issues. We're growing way too fast without any kind of real planning. Traffic on our roads and freeways has gone from bad to worse. Crime is spiraling out of control in Elk Grove. Decisions are being made behind closed doors without any kind of real resident input. As I consider to run for the Elk Grove City Council, I ask myself, why is it that a city as vibrant and alive as Elk Grove is struggling with these issues? And I believe the answer is leadership. We need real leadership, we need new leadership, we need strong leadership in Elk Grove. This is the community my 3 beautiful children are growing up in, and we can do better, and I want to bring our community back together and achieve our dreams of incorporation.
Thank you. Daniel Silva.
Good morning. I've been part of Elk Grove since 1991, where I've had my family and friends. I have 3 children, a wife. I dream of the small town atmosphere that we've once had before. I think we can accomplish this, and we can make this happen in different ways. We need citizen accountability. We need accountability of our leadership. I think we can accomplish this if given the right leadership in this, which would be me. Thank you.
Thank you. And the final opening statement this morning, Dan Briggs.
Good morning. Thank you very much for the Women League of Voters for having this forum. It's a great opportunity for the voters to be able to get their information straight from us. I've lived in Elk Grove for 16 years. I've been on the Elk Grove City Council for 6 years. I was the actual incorporation person that was chaired it in 1997 to bring it to a vote in the year 2000. The city of Elk Grove has accomplished the 3 goals that we did back in the year 2000 while I was here. That was local control, no new taxes, and more police. I'm very proud to say that we've achieved that. We're in our 3rd stage, basically, to be able to go out and create more jobs, trade the housing and jobs balance to bring in more jobs and less houses. This race is all about local control and outside developer impacts. Thank you.
Thank you. Now it is time to move to our question and answer period of this forum. Jeff, will you please direct the first question to District 2 candidates, starting with Davies?
In 1996, the U.S. Census Bureau predicted that the population of Elk Grove would be about 60,000. Today, it is more than 130,000. Do you think Elk Grove is growing too fast, and what are your plans for growth if you are elected?
When you talk about growth, we need to talk about balance also. Elk Grove has grown too fast, and we need to be able to slow down the growth to be able to have a total balance. Okay. Elk Grove cannot be sustained by fast food, gasoline, or residential properties on every corner of the street. So we need to bring a complete balance for Elk Grove. Thank you.
Thank you. Patrick?
When we grew in 2004, I think there were two factors. One was the annexation of Laguna West that grew the city's population numbers by 13,000, but it didn't grow the population of the area by a single person. That was just bringing the people into the city. The second thing was the East Franklin plan, which was approved by the county, and I think it grew too fast. There was no checking of development as it came forward, and so yes, we did grow too fast. I think we need to manage our growth better. We live in a state that has 600,000 people move to it every year. We have natural birth rates that continue to go up exponentially as we grow as a population. And we live in a state where our economies differ from region to region, and so we have people who are moving from more expensive areas into more affordable areas, and I think all of those things contributed to our great growth rate. What we need to do is focus on better growth. We need to have more jobs. We need to focus on an environment where we can live, work, and play all in Elk Grove.
Thank you. Elise?
Yes, I think over the past many years, Elk Grove has grown drastically and very quickly, and we must be prepared for that. And I don't think that we have been prepared because we have allowed developers to come in and develop the area without putting in the infrastructure of Elk Grove. I think what we need to do in the future is balance the growth for the quality of life of our citizens in Elk Grove, as well as hold the developers accountable for completing the infrastructure within Elk Grove. And that's one of the areas that I would focus in on as City Council. Thank you.
Thank you. And Rick?
We have had tremendous growth, and I think it was well stated that it was a previously approved East Franklin plan that kind of put us over the edge because there was no phasing of that growth. Our first specific plan that we have developed is the Madera Ranch, or Madera development, that will definitely be phased in on growth. While growth was rampant for a number of years, we put in a growth management plan that was extremely successful. I don't believe we did a good enough job explaining to people how that system works. It's kind of cumbersome and confusing, but we're seeing the results now, where for the last 9 months we've been averaging 45 to 50 permits per month, and as a result, we have time to catch up on some of our road work and infrastructure work we have to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Loretta, would you please direct the next question to District 4 candidates, beginning with Gary?
Good morning, Gary.
Good morning.
The City of Elk Grove, the two races that are underway now in District 2 and District 4 have generated more contributions for the seats than at any time in history. More than $400,000 has been raised in the two districts, and District 4 candidates, 2 of the 3, have been responsible for most of that fundraising. Can you address whether this is a good thing, and what, if not, what would you do about it? What can be done to bring it back to the real world?
I think the amount of money that is having to be raised to run for a city council seat in Elk Grove, and I'll take that a step further. 2 of the candidates that are running for the city council have also lent themselves, one close to $80,000, one $100,000. To me, the fact that we have got to, folks either have to lend themselves that much money to run or raise that much money to run, to me that is a major problem. Campaign finance reform is something that I would absolutely get behind. I think one way to address it, frankly, is to deal with the way in which our elections are handled. Right now, you do not have to have a majority vote of the Elk Grove residents in order to win. In fact, with the exception of 2 cases, every one of our incumbents has been elected with 35% or less of the vote. I believe and would strongly advocate for a requirement that city council members are only elected if they receive a majority of the vote. And I believe that would help to alleviate the need to raise as much funds as we have had to do to reach 60,000 voters.
Thank you. Dan Briggs?
Repeat the question, please.
The fundraising in Elk Grove for city council seats is now in the astronomical level, with 2 districts generating more than $400,000. Most of that came from your district, 2 candidates seeking election in your district. Is that a good thing? What should be done about it?
Well, I think it is appalling. I think when the outside developers bring in an opponent such as Gary Davis to the city of Elk Grove in 2005 to run and bankroll basically all of his fundraising over $140,000, I think that sends a signal as to what's trying to be occurred here. Developers are trying to take back what they have been held accountable in order to have controlled growth. I believe I put up my own money because I believe in protecting the rights and taxes of the citizens of Elk Grove. I'm all for reform. I think there should be a campaign reform law with fundraising. I think there should be a term limit for city council members for 2 full terms. I'm more than glad to do that. But I will not sit out on the outside and have some outside person come into the city of Elk Grove and be funded by the developers to bankroll their campaign and sit up here and say that it's appalling. He shouldn't be taking outside dollars. He should be doing it other ways locally. Why is he accepting their money?
Thank you. And Daniel Silva?
Yes, we definitely need campaign reform. We've seen it where, as Mr. Briggs said, we have tremendous amount of outside developers coming to raise money, which in fact hampers our ability to get the average citizen out there to represent our citizens' needs and concerns for the city of Elk Grove. If in fact we have some campaign reform and vote by district, it would enable mine, yours, your neighbors to run, so we can get out there and go door to door, and people will know about our work ethic and what we want to accomplish in the community. This will bring the true citizen's voice to the city council level.
Thank you. John, would you please direct the next question to District 2 candidates, and please begin with Patrick Hume.
Okay. Mr. Hume, in the opening statements, there was a division of opinion over the quality of planning in Elk Grove. On the one hand, a growth management plan was lauded, said to be functional for the city of Elk Grove. And on the other hand, some candidates criticized the planning, said it's bad planning, and in particular, that infrastructure was not in place when housing was built. Would you comment and elaborate on whether there is an adequate growth management plan in Elk Grove?
The growth management plan in Elk Grove essentially says that infrastructure has to be in place before the houses can be built, or before the commercial development can be built. That is, in essence, is the growth management plan. When the city of Elk Grove took over all of the planning that had been going on under the county of Sacramento, obviously there was a lot of catch-up to do. A lot of what we called zipper streets, where partial portions of roadway had been improved, but not the full stretch. So we've done a good job of catching up with that, I believe. But I think what the key word that you hit on is planning. And we have a contract planning staff that is not only representing Elk Grove, they represent Rancho Cordova, they represent Yuba City, they represent West Sacramento, they represent Oakley. So I would be looking to try and bring more accountability into planning for Elk Grove's future, and bringing Elk Grove back into the fold from a regional perspective, so that we can look at not only our problems and our generations of impacts, but also how other people's problems and generations of impacts impact us.
Thank you. Elise?
Would you repeat the question, please?
Yes, how do you stand on the growth management plan and whether it has been adequate to the planning needs of Elk Grove, particularly as to infrastructure being in place before housing is built?
As far as the planning for Elk Grove, I'm sure there is a plan in place. However, whether that plan has been followed ceases to be seen. Reason being, if there is a plan in place for the infrastructure, what should have happened is we should have held the developers accountable for the infrastructure. The infrastructure should have been in prior to any development within our areas within Elk Grove. And in the future, when I become city council person, I would want to look at those plans to make sure that we are abiding by those plans long range with our developers. No homes or any development should go in unless the infrastructure is within Elk Grove. Our roads are already in place. Thank you.
Thank you. Rick?
And I realize not everyone has a lot of experience in the planning area, but the previously approved by the county did not allow for that infrastructure in. So once the city was able to get control, the Planning Commission, the City Council instituted that policy so that we could control those. And it is a requirement, and it is taking place. But in essence, there's one other part of that plan besides just paying a fee and having the roads in first, is also a phasing process on development and future development, so we can make sure that what happened in East Franklin when a 10-year build-out occurred in about 3 years doesn't happen again. We're actually revisiting that because we're a little nervous that the Madera plan coming forward may try to get too many homes on a rollover in. So as a result, we're constantly revisiting that, trying to modify things because we realize growth is an issue and we need to get those roads in. Thank you.
Thank you. And Davies?
Yes, the planning issue is a major problem. It's a lack of planning, that's what I call it, and again, lack of leadership. If we had planned better, we will not be with the wreckage that we have today in Elk Grove. And I also strongly believe that if we are going to be smarter than the plans that are currently in place, we must have to admit that some of these plans must have to change. My opponents in this race will say, yeah, we did this, we did that. Sacramento did this, Sacramento did that. They might blame the stuff to the county, but they have also made the changes along the way that resulted into the problem that we have today. Build it, they will come. But we are only a bedroom community. We need to have a proper planning.
Thank you. Jeff, back to you. Would you please direct the next question to District 4 candidates, and please first direct that to Dan Briggs.
Mr. Briggs, recently this year, the Sacramento County Grand Jury determined that City Council member Michael Leary had intimidated the public during a City Council meeting. The City Council subsequently voted unanimously not to censure Mr. Leary. Do you believe Mr. Leary should have been censored for his actions?
I believe in the first right free speech amendment that's based on the Constitution of the United States, such as the free speech that the press has, whether it's print, radio, or television. I'd never condone, and I said that in public about Mr. Leary, that his actions weren't warranted, but he has the right to speak. It's up to the voters to make that decision. It's not up to me. If we're going to have free speech and free-spirited debate on the council, you have to have the ability to speak your piece. They do that in Congress, they do that in the Assembly, they do that in the Senate. It's a matter of the opinion of that particular person. I am not in charge of Mr. Leary, and that's his decision. I have to work with him, but it's the first right amendment of free speech.
Thank you. Daniel?
As a city council member, I honestly believe that when our citizens come to the city council meeting, they should not be intimidated. They should not feel that they're not appreciated. When in office, I'm going to make sure that happens. It is my responsibility as a city councilman to ensure that my peers treat the citizens appropriately. Thank you.
Thank you. And Derek?
I need to respond to the previous question. I'm running a positive and proactive campaign about my vision for Elk Grove. But you know what? My mother taught me that when picked on, you need to defend yourself. Dan Briggs cannot reinvent himself for this campaign. Elk Grove voters and residents are smarter than that. The fact of the matter is that over the last 6 years, Mr. Briggs has received 90% of his campaign contribution from the development community, where he has supported 100% of the projects that they have proposed. That is unacceptable. Currently, the one developer that is bankrolling his campaign, look at the finance reports, is advocating strong growth south of our city. Not on my watch. I'm very strong, very consistent in what I believe on growth. And from my perspective, growth will only occur if it's planned, if it's thought out, if developers pay their fair share to put in roads, infrastructure. Frankly, we are growing too fast. We need to take a breath. We need to slow down. We need to stop growth and focus on developing a better city with a higher quality of life.
Thank you. I will state that this is a forum, not a debate, so candidates are able to go back to previous questions. Loretta, please ask your question to District 2 candidates, and please begin with Elise.
Hi, Elise.
Hi.
A decision is coming soon about a connector project from Placer County, western Placer County, to southern Elk Grove. It will, appears as though it will affect the town of Sheldon in some fashion. One of the options is to put the connector right through the center of town, which local townspeople feel might destroy their community. So if that were put before you today, how would you resolve that issue?
If that was put to me today, I would need to, first of all, look at the plans and make a decision based on the plans. I have not reviewed the plans. However, just in thinking forward, one of the things that I would look at is whether that's a viable option for Elk Grove to have it come directly through our city. However, I would actually look at the fact of how could we work it, and right at this point I don't have a clear view on it, so I may be evading what you've asked me, so that would be my response at this time until I can review the plans.
Thank you. Rick?
There's been extensive media coverage on all the different options. When SACOG first tasked itself to working on that program, the City Council weighed in very heavily through numerous public hearings to see which would be the best route. We actually chose a different route than what was proposed and went to SACOG. SACOG did not allow our preferred version to go, which would have run parallel along the river and also doubled as a levee for flood control purposes. By doing so, it would have circumvented Grantline, the town of Sheldon, and would have looped up and around and come in at Sunrise. That's the less evasive. I understand SACOG holding off because that's not going over territory currently controlled by Elk Grove, but there will be a time where we'll be looking to expand in that area so that then it would make tremendous sense. SACOG just met to come up with one of their final recommendations this week. I didn't hear the outcome of yesterday's meeting, so I'm not sure where that is at, but the City Council voiced a different opinion than what SACOG's approving.
Thank you. Davies?
First of all, I would like to make sure that I bring the citizens that are going to be affected. When you have a project like this is going to affect a lot of citizens, affect their properties, their life savings, and everything that will be involved with. I want to make sure that you bring the citizens into discussion, and then we look at the plan. Do we have alternative? If we don't have to go this route, do we have alternative where we can go, not to obstruct the life of the citizens that will be affected when this plan is in place? If not, then we'll have to sit down and agree together that this is an acceptable route to go. At that point, then I will look into more about it.
Thank you. Patrick?
Well, one of the platforms of my campaign is rebuilding partnerships, and it's no wonder that SACOG didn't listen to us on our preferred alternative, because when they came forward with the Blueprint project, we told them we don't want to participate. First of all, I support the connector project. The original freeway plan for the Sacramento area was to have a ring road freeway around Sacramento, and instead that was circumvented for a cross freeway that went right downtown. I believe that the efficient movement of goods and services of people is vital to a healthy economy and also to a healthy community. However, I believe that we need to look at doing that with the preservation of that rural area, because that town of Sheldon actually predates the city of Elk Grove, predates the town of Elk Grove, and it's important that we look at how we can accomplish our desired goals and still preserve their quality of life. However, the most important thing I believe that we need to be working toward is taking out segment 6 of the connector project runs from Calvine Road all the way to I-5. We need to bifurcate that, and we need to look at the section from Highway 99 to I-5, and we need to expedite that portion and that segment, because until we get that in place to allow release, we're always going to be congested.
Thank you. John, please direct the next question to District 4 candidates, and first, Daniel Silva.
Mr. Silva, what do you consider to be the optimum population target for Elk Grove as a municipality in the coming years?
I honestly believe we're at our optimum. We have approximately another 7,000 homes development going in south of Elk Grove Boulevard. You cross that by another 21,000 automobiles on the road. I don't think we don't have the infrastructure for that. We need immediately to slow down, have responsible growth, and then come up with a plan that will give us our optimum growth.
Thank you.
Thank you. Gary?
I would have to agree. I think we're there. You know, if you look at the projects that have been approved under the city council's leadership, the Madera community, 7,000 plus homes. Actually, East Franklin grew out under this city council's leadership. Look, folks, if you're riding on Highway 99 every day like I am, you know that traffic is already stopped. We add 7,000 more homes, which are going to be coming online in the next few months. I don't know where they're going to go. As it is, I already get off on Power End to try to find surface streets to get to work. I'm a very strong advocate for growing our jobs base in Elk Grove. If we're going to truly have the quality of life that we need in Elk Grove, if we are going to be able to give people the opportunity to truly, really live and work in Elk Grove so that we can be the great city that I know we can be, we have got to bring high quality, high paying jobs into the community so that folks have the opportunity to stay local and invest locally. And I believe that that will help us maintain our optimum population.
Thank you. And Dan Briggs.
I would like to say, with the growth management plan dovetailing into this, I'm really happy to hear that my opponents are in agreement with me. On October 11th of this month, in October at the City Council meeting, I put back on the growth management plan to be revisited. We have a cap of, my intent was 1,200 homes per year. The way it's set up now is over 3,600 homes can pop up. If they don't fulfill that, they can roll it over. I would like every candidate to come up to the podium and support me and limit that growth. That will show the true details of what they're talking about for limiting growth. I would also like to say, I think we have reached a saturation point after that Madera project is built, that we need to concentrate on rezoning lands for office parks, industrial parks, and business parks. We need to bring our jobs down to Elk Grove, and being a businessman for 20 years, I understand the needs, but the impact fees is what's going to jeopardize this whole operation that my opponents have said in previous forums that they want to reduce. If we reduce the impact fees, our infrastructure is in peril.
Thank you. Jeff, would you please direct the next question to District 2 candidates and begin with Rick?
Mr. Soares, the City of Elk Grove and the Elk Grove Community Services District are currently involved in litigation over which entity has the right to develop parks in Elk Grove. Which entity do you think has that right, and what would you do if elected to solve the current dispute between the two entities?
Well, obviously, we feel that in a new area, which is Madera, that we have the right to run the parks there so that we can build parks 2 to 3 times the size of the current ones. We can deliver them on time, promise to the neighborhood, which is currently not occurring in the East Franklin area where very few are actually built. And that we feel, based on input from a tremendous amount of sports groups, that they would like to have more freedom, more creative parks. We're talking about a 40-acre all-weather soccer park. That is something that'll be revolutionary for the area. Specialty parks to address different areas. Parks that are not being seen in Elk Grove. So we see it as a complement to the existing park system. So within that area, it's going to be very specially done. As far as the litigation, we were sued by them. That's taking its course, and I have no comment on that.
Thank you. Davies?
With regard to the CSD and city issue, no matter the side of the fence one is leaning, the situation has become a court issue. And at the conclusion part of it, I think we will all be able to accept whatever the decision of the court is, unless something else happens unless it's settled before the court makes the decision.
Thank you. Patrick?
Thank you. There is no argument over who has the right. Right now, the CSD has that right, and they've been doing a great job of it for 20 years. What happened is the city decided that it wanted to build the parks, rather than sitting down, as I mentioned before, and working in a spirit of cooperation and partnership building and say, this is the end product, this is what we're looking to achieve, these are the sports parks that we want to build. How can we work together and do that? They chose to create a duplication in services, which I believe is a waste of taxpayer dollars. Should someday maybe the city parks come into the city fold of municipal services, that could be a discussion. But it should be a transition. It should be a discussion that works at how do we do this with the least amount of negative impact to our community, because right now, this fight is driving a fracture in our community. It's creating divisiveness and division that is totally unnecessary, unwarranted, and did not exist prior to incorporation.
Thank you. Annalise?
Would you repeat the question again, please?
The City of Elk Grove and the Elk Grove Community Services District are currently involved in litigation involving which entity has the right to build parks in Elk Grove. Which entity do you think has that right, and what would you do if elected to solve the current dispute between the two entities?
I believe that Elk Grove City Council should have the right of control and plans over our park services, and I truly believe that CSD should be hired to maintain those parks, as well as once we decide on the parks, I really feel that we need to involve our citizens in the planning of our parks and so forth and so on. We need to make sure that we include the citizens. We're talking park services, however, we certainly need to start building recreation centers within Elk Grove along with those parks. As City Council, I would approve of parks, and I would also approve of building centers within Elk Grove. Thank you.
Thank you. Loretta, would you please direct the next question to District 4 candidates and begin with Gary?
Okay, Gary. The City of Elk Grove, and particularly the City Council, has been dogged by the perception that citizen input isn't given its full weight. And so can you address whether that's the case and what you would do about it?
Well, I agree. I think that decisions are being made behind closed doors, consensus is being reached, and residents are not a part of the process. I've been very consistent, have talked about, have proposed, and will stand behind a requirement that residents be an integral part of the process, especially as it relates to the development that occurs within our community. Right now, what happens is projects come forth and they don't pop out into the public's eye until they're almost a done deal. And to me, that leads to bad decision making. From my perspective, the very first step in the development process should be to go and meet with the neighborhood group that's the most impacted by a project. And they should have the very first say in what it is that goes in or doesn't go into that project. And by the time it gets to the Planning Commission and the City Council, it better have been worked out with the neighborhood, because as residents, we are here in the long term. There are property values that are being impacted. We have the greatest stake in the outcome.
Thank you. Dan Briggs?
Yes, I would like to say that the general plan was adopted in 2003. It took us 3 years. It's a working, living document that allows the opportunity to know where the growth is going to occur. We adopted design guidelines. We've adopted many other opportunities for the citizens to be able to participate. We had Envision Elk Grove. You know, my opponent in 2005 wasn't even in attendance for that, and it was a very important document that told our community and asked them what did they want to see. We have telephones, we have emails, we have many opportunities at Planning Commission. Mr. Hume sat on that. They've heard many, many hearings. That's the body that comes before projects, before it comes to the council. And there's many opportunities. Some just want to be heard more than others. They all have equal opportunity. Our doors are always open. Thank you.
Thank you. And Daniel Silva?
Well, being a family man, I know how cumbersome it can be to go down to City Hall and attend these meetings. I have a wife, kids that have homework, practices, and we need to bring the community, or City Hall rather, to the community. And we can do that in a way of bringing the meetings to actual elementary schools. If you're a developer and you want to develop in our community, set up a tent in the area you want to develop. I want to see a big sign, since you put a lot of money into the campaign that you got a gentleman elected. I want to see a sign saying, we're going to develop this, invite the community to come and meet with us. So we can make first-hand decisions based on what the citizens wants and their needs.
Thank you. John, we have time for one more question, and I'd like to have all the candidates have an opportunity to answer it. So will you first direct it to Davies?
Yes. Is there or is there not a crime problem in Elk Grove? And if there is, what do you propose to do about a crime problem in Elk Grove?
We do have a crime problem in Elk Grove. And currently, we have a police force that is just new, that they're doing their best to make sure that our city is safe. When we move to Elk Grove, or everybody that moves to Elk Grove want to be in a city where they will be free from crime and safe. My goal is to be able to make sure that we have a police force that is trained to be able to work with the community, and where the community and the police force work together to help curtail the crime in Elk Grove. In that sense, I would like to see the police have community policing, where they have information, where the city and citizens are their eyes and their feet, where they will cooperate with the citizens to be able to fight crime in Elk Grove.
Thank you. Patrick?
There's not a crime problem in Elk Grove. There's a crime problem in the United States. And until there is no more crime, there will always be a crime problem. We have to be more proactive in how we address that crime problem. Preventative measures, deterrence, and then at the final, then we have to look at enforcement. I believe that we need to increase our community involvement in our policing. We need to increase our volunteer in policing programs so that we have more eyes on the street and more of a deterrence to let criminals know that they're not welcome. We also need to work in partnership with other agencies, because crime knows no borders. They will not stop at our northern border or our southern border. They will go wherever the crime is easiest to commit and then slink back to their cave or their place where they came from. We need to be in partnership. And I think forming our own police department was a good idea, but injuring our relationship with the Sheriff's Department along the way was a bad idea. And I hope that that bad idea doesn't increase our police problem in the future. And we need to get our staffing levels back up so that we have more police per 1,000 residents than we did with the sheriffs, whereas right now we have fewer. Thank you.
Thank you. Elise?
Yes, I support our police force, of course, and I know that our police force is new within Elk Grove. The majority of them are fairly new. What I would do to prevent a lot of the crime, not prevent, but cause crime not to happen as much, is I would promote neighborhood watch programs. I would also support our police force. I would also have town hall meetings where we would hear the concerns of our citizens on crime within the area, and then I would share that information with our chief of police within the Elk Grove community. I would also collaborate with other outside agencies to get their ideas, because there's other areas that have higher crime than Elk Grove. So I would also collaborate with those agencies. Thank you.
Thank you. Rick?
I'm incredibly proud of what the men and women of the New Elk Grove Police Department have done. I was also very proud of what the Sheriff's Department provided us for 5.5, 6 years. We never intended, though, just to become a miniature version of the Sheriff's Department. Our city has unique needs. We need more freedom than was currently allowed, so we could designate where our employees went and how they fought crime and how quickly they could react to different trends. That has occurred. We have brought on the best of the best. Our numbers have basically doubled since we incorporated from what the sheriff was providing per thousand. We currently, 6 months ago, had 88 officers. We now have 123 with plans for 9 more. Numbers are significantly up. Resources are best. Our 5-week anniversary today of our new comm center. We have gone a tremendous way towards impacting reducing the amount of crime. Will crime be eliminated? Absolutely not. As Pat said, it's epidemic throughout the United States. Will it be less, far less based on these moves? You bet. We're working really hard in that direction.
Thank you. Dan Briggs,
Oh, I'm answering the same question?
please.
Oh, I was very proud to be endorsed by the Police Officers Association in Elk Grove. As mayor, I was the one that actually started the process to begin organizing the police department. Since we've started in June 23rd of this year, our response time has been faster. Our awareness of the gang problems here in Elk Grove have been more widely circulated to being able to apprehend. We have more traffic control than we ever had before. We're issuing more citations. More people are understanding what's going on. Crime is an issue, but it's local control. It's about local control. It's about having the ability to be able to have your police officer in your neighborhood when you need them. Thank you.
Thank you. Daniel Silva.
Well, having been, and I am a criminal justice specialist, I have the opportunity to see the plans throughout the state. Cutting edge plans that people devise for their community so they have best effort forth. I think we need definitely more law enforcement officers. It's important that we get out there and we involve our community and we ensure that crime is taken care of. I don't think we should focus as much on traffic as we should as investigators. It's important that we involve our citizens and teachers in the impact of our gangs that nobody's mentioned. Our gang problem is budding at this point. It's a good time to take care of it. At this point, I would say we definitely need to empower our citizens, teachers, and residents by getting out there and training them on their environment and what they're facing. It's important that we not let the gangs or crime get a stronghold on our community.
Thank you. And Gary?
I'm very concerned about crime. Frankly, if you look at our city now, there's a tremendous increase in property crimes, gang violence and gang occurrences, gang presence, and also, frankly, we've got organized crime in Elk Grove. That concerns me, and I think it ties back to the rate in which the city is growing. We are growing too fast without putting infrastructure in place. Infrastructure is roads and other things, but infrastructure is also getting involved in the neighborhood, organizing neighborhoods, ensuring that neighborhood watch programs are in place, ensuring that there are officers that are in every neighborhood, establishing relationships with the community leaders in that neighborhood. I believe the answer is that we need to do more to support our police officers. I think they do a very good job. We need to ensure that they have top-notch training. Frankly, we need more staffing. We need more officers that are patrolling the neighborhoods in a proactive way, doing a good job of keeping speeding down. But you know what? The trade-off there is that there's less of a presence in the neighborhoods, and we have got to do that better.
Thank you. This concludes the question and answer portion of this forum, and we will move to closing statements. The candidates have already offered a pre-selected order. So, Rick, you're first.
Fantastic, thank you. Well, I appreciate the opportunity to share our thoughts and for the viewers to hear a wide variety of ideas and how they handle different situations. One thing that's important, though, is past performance. And past performance indicates that I will be there, I'll be prepared, I'll be incredibly accessible to the public, and I'll continue to do the research necessary to be effective in whatever area of the job I'm looking at. An example, police services. We have a mechanism in place to pay for increased services. We have cutting-edge technology on board. We are actually looking at more legislation to give them all the tools they can. We're talking about bringing a court back into town. We're doing a number of things to continually supplement what we have to improve upon it. Looking back over 6 years, it's everything we did something that I am totally proud of, majority of it, but there's a lot of areas we need improvement on. I have a plan to improve in those areas to address traffic congestion, jobs retention, as well as the increase in the police services. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Elise Walton.
Thank you. I'd like for the voters to be reminded that strong leadership and commitment and accountability is critical to the citizens of Elk Grove. I bring all of these attributes. I have the 28 years of administration. I've served in the United States Air Force for 12 years. I have 5 accommodations for leadership and commitment to service. And I look forward to committing service to Elk Grove, and I look forward to your vote in November. Thank you.
Thank you, Elise. Davies Ananiwu.
I would like to thank the Metro Cable and the League of Women Voters. November brings hope for a positive future, which must include healthy agreements between residents, businesses, and the region. A government that does not operate in a vacuum, where poor policies and planning exist, but a government in which responsible planning is achievable. History and people are the canvases, and a brighter future exists for our youths. I pledge to be a public steward who rejects political favoritism, but who respects you, the citizens. I will stand behind ethical policies, not fair promises and defensive posturing, and avoid compromises that jeopardize my word, decisions, and community and quality of life. Challenge the status quo, vote Davis Ononiwu, and demand more for Elk Grove. Thank you.
Thank you. Patrick Hume.
Thank you first to the League and to the Sacramento Cable Commission, also to our moderator and the questionnaires. As I said in my opening statement, I need help bringing my hometown back to a place of civility. I've been endorsed by labor, I've been endorsed by business, I've been endorsed by law enforcement, I've been endorsed by the firefighters, I've been endorsed by hundreds of community members. I represent a bridge between the Elk Grove of the past and the best is yet to come Elk Grove of the future. I believe that we can build towards an exciting future while we preserve that rural character that made Elk Grove so unique. We need better planning, we deserve better services. We need to look at bringing jobs to Elk Grove and get our commuters off of clogged freeways. You know, leadership's been tossed around and people often make the mistake when they ask, what is the primary role of a leader? They answer to lead. And in actuality, the primary role of a leader is to serve. I want to serve you. I want to listen to you, and I want to help bring a better local government to you. And I need your help on November 7th to get that done. Thank you.
Thank you, District 2 candidates. We now move to closing statements from District 4. Gary Davis.
Elk Grove has tremendous potential to be the great city that we dreamed of 6 years ago when this community came together and incorporated and demanded local control. I am proud to say that we have built a coalition that is broad, that is strong, that includes local law enforcement leaders, the Elk Grove firefighters, the Elk Grove Chamber of Commerce, 4 out of the 5 of the Elk Grove CSD board members, school board members, community college members, trustees, local community leaders, residents, friends, family, everybody is on board with a new vision for Elk Grove. I believe that that new vision is to get us back on track to become the great city that we can be. And that's going to require new leadership. It's going to require real leadership. It's going to require strong leadership. It's going to require a lot of time, energy, and commitment from our elected officials to work hard towards this dream that I know in my heart that we can achieve. And I hope that you will join me and give me a chance to prove you right. Thank you.
Thank you. Daniel Silva.
Well, definitely I'm not a politician, but I can promise you accountability, and that's what we need at City Hall. We need a government who involves its people. We need accountability. Again, so much for that we cannot any longer sit back and allow developers to come in and place thousands of dollars in the campaigns and take control of our community. It's important that we as citizens have a say in what projects will be developed, what congestion, and that we don't want a downtown area that is like Los Angeles or greater. It's not delusions of grandeur. Our citizens want accountability. They want trust. They want respect. And I can give that at the city council level. Thank you.
Thank you. And the final word from the candidates, Dan Briggs.
Thank you very much. I sincerely appreciate this opportunity. You know, I've lived here in Elk Grove for 16 years. I've been in business for over 20 years. I've had struggles like everyone else. When we incorporated in 2000, it was real simple. Local control, no new taxes, local police. We've achieved that. You have to understand when we have impact fees, which devil's in the details, is that in order for us to do our capital improvement projects, such as our roadway systems, it has to come from new development. They're in charge right now there to lower it. My opponent and other opponents want to reduce that. I will say through my leadership, I will not let that happen. We cannot allow developers to control this city council. Never today, tomorrow, or ever. I appreciate the opportunity being here, and I ask for your vote on November 2nd, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. On behalf of the League of Women Voters and the Sacramento Metropolitan Cable Television Commission, I thank the candidates and our panelists for participating. I would also like to chance to thank all the volunteers who are so necessary to make this forum possible. This forum has been designed to you, the voter, in accordance with our belief that a democratic government depends upon the informed and active participation of its citizens. We hope that the insights you have gained from this forum will help you in making your decision. For voter information and rebroadcast times of this forum, please visit our Smart Voter website at www.smartvoter.org. Please vote on November 7th and help make this democracy work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Are we out?